Hello everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button and the notification bell so you'll be up to date with notifications when I'm dropping new videos. So today I want to spend some time loving on nurse educators. And this is dedicated to you. Top 5 ways to survive nurse education. And even if you're not a nurse educator, you can glean a lot of information from this video. And it will definitely open your eyes and unveil some things that go on in a profession that maybe you never knew. Okay, we're about to go behind the scenes. I don't know if you're ready for this, but let's do it. So, what we need to understand first is if you're thinking about going into nurse education or you are a newbie into nurse education, what was your reason? Okay, and you need to understand what your reason is for going into nurse education because you will need to hold on to that severely if you're going to continue on this trek because that's what's going to really keep you centered and keep you with clarity as you go on this journey. All right, so let's get into this, okay? Because I can't wait. I'm busting at the seams and let's talk about it. So, first thing is be knowledgeable. All right, so one of the things you're going to need to do is prepare, study, and repeat. These students are nobody's fool. They know when someone is a hot mess express in front of that classroom. Okay? They are talking junk. They are aware. Their eye sockets are moving. Okay? They know everything that we're doing. So it is imperative that you prepare and you prepare hardcore. You find the best resources. Hopefully, your campus understands where you can get those resources from, and you are studying harder than a student because when you get in front of that classroom, you want to be able to break it down on the student's level so they can understand it. We're not up there just reading PowerPoints. We're up there trying to help them understand why A plus B equals C. So it's very imperative that you're knowledgeable. And this will help your confidence level. It's hard to stand in front of a group of 60 and 80 individuals and you haven't read the material. All right. Number 2 is be respectful. The quickest way to earn respect is by showing it yourself. All right. Respect your students. They come from all types of different cultures, economic situations, all kind of different walks of life have entered into that classroom. And we don't know what is going on in their family life, none of that. But all we do know is that they're coming into this classroom because they are wanting this education to better their situation, their lives. And it is it is important as a nurse educator that you're cognizant of those things. And it may be beneficial for you to consider taking, you know, classes that would help eliminate bias, all right, and inform you of different cultures and a way to communicate with different cultures, all right, because there needs to be I think the biggest mistake that educators can make as a whole is treating students equally. Okay, you need to treat students with equity. All right, equity is where we're going because you can't treat all students based on a variable that does not address a particular student. Okay, so you can't, for instance, you cannot, you know, use oranges to define a student when apples help the other student. So you have to operate with equity and encourage your program to operate with equity. And that will really improve the student morale on your campus. Okay? That's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen. And number 3, be professional. Right? This is, I think it's very important that you understand this right away and as soon as possible, that this is a professional relationship and this is business. All right. So these students, these adult learners, are coming in to these classrooms to with the outcome to want to be a nurse. All right. And your job is to get them there. All right. So the students, they don't need another friend. Okay. They don't need a hangout buddy. All right. Your job is to maintain your professional role. All right. And the more you maintain that professional role, the more the students will respect you for that. Okay. You have to give them constructive feedback. That's going to help them in their professional realm. You have you have to hold them accountable. And if you cannot do that, that is going to be an injustice to that student. Okay? Because we're not in this to be liked and to get the congeniality award. We hope that they do like us and um, that they find us impactful. But the reality of it is, not all students are. No matter what you do and how you bend and whatever, they already have made up in their mind what they think you are. Okay? So you just need to focus on being professional and delivering a good product. Take a breath. Don't create an issue that's not there. Okay? You also may be in a situation where you are teaching individuals in your same age bracket. Does that make you nervous? Well, it shouldn't. You are where you are, they are where they are. They shouldn't be made to feel bad because they are where they are. And you shouldn't feel bad where you are. Everybody's life's journey has taken them where they are. Okay? So let's move on to helping them achieve what they need to achieve. Number 4, be boundaried. Yes, I made that word up, okay? Be boundaried. You need to set boundaries right away, okay? What your expectation is, and not waver, okay, on that. And it's so important that you maintain the expectation, because soon as students see that you're doing something different for another student, you lose your credibility. So you need to set those boundaries, okay? Really, really early and efficiently, and don't be afraid to do it. You need to follow your social media policies from your organization, all right? And make sure that you're not crossing that line either, okay? I keep it really, really professional with students. You know, I don't add them as friends. I don't do any of that. Now, once they officially graduate, then I'll say, okay, now you can be added as friends. But typically, I want add them as friends until that period. Okay, even if they're no longer in my class. If they're in the program, we're not Facebook friends until after you're successfully complete. And that's just the way I am. And it makes things less messy. All right. So the other thing with setting boundaries that is very important is because if you set effective boundaries, you're going to improve your self care. All right. Because nurse education can be 24/7. Okay. Unlike working on a unit where you can clock in, clock out, there is no per se clock in, clock out. So you really have to do a good job of monitoring and being self aware of your mental health. All right, and I'm going to tell you how to do this so that you do not get burnout. Okay, because burnout is a choice. All right, and we are eliminating that. So, this is what I would suggest. Make sure you set your away messages and have detailed messages so when students contact you and you're not available, they know why, they know when to expect a response. Do not answer emails after hours or over the weekend. You have to have some separation time. There is so much, okay? You're grading papers. Your papers are grading papers. I mean, so you need time to just focus on what you need to focus on, whether that's reading, whether that's preparing for the class or an activity. So be cognizant of your time. And that goes for coworkers too. Okay? So you really need to set those parameters early on. Like, if you're gonna text me, fine, cool. But on the weekends, let's eliminate texting about work. Okay, let's take that off of the table because when I'm at home, I'm with my family, and we'll follow that up on Monday. And try to work efficiently when you're at work, so that you're doing your prep. And everything during your working hours. So that's lists you have to take at home. Now, that sounds like that can be easily done, but there are shenanigans that goes on in the office, okay, that are going to tear you away from achieving this goal. But you can do it, okay? Because we know there's going to be committees that you have to attend. There's going to be meetings that could have been an email that you got to attend, and then meetings for the meeting and the follow up meetings, okay? So you really have to utilize your time very efficiently to still get everything you need to get done. So that's why you'll see a lot of nurse educators carrying around their bags everywhere they go. So any moment they get, they can, continue grading that paper or, keep up with work as they can so that they're not taking all of that home. I'm a big, big proponent of turning off email notifications. Set that off. Do not even add it to your phone. But if you do add your email to your phone, because I know sometimes we have to send quick messages while we're on the clock, make sure you have those notification settings turned off during off times and weekend times so that you're not getting that notification ding. And last but not least, with setting boundaries and going through going to several nurse education conferences, this is something that we picked up, and it is there is no emergency in education. Okay, no, there's no cold blues. All right, there's nobody, nothing. Okay, so sometimes people or or anyone will try to make you feel like you have to get a response right away. And that could be the worst thing that you could ever do. You always need to take a moment to process. All right? Because once you make or say a decision, then that's out there. And then you may have to walk it back. So take your moments where you can. There's always some time there to make an appropriate decision. You do not have to fly by the seat of your pants. All right? And one of my favorite quotes that you should always remember and think about it when students are emailing you: your lack of preparation does not constitute an emergency for me. Okay? Keep that in your spirit, because there will be so many factors trying to urge you to rush into a decision, and you need to be aware of those two things. There is no emergency in education, and your lack of preparation does not constitute an emergency for me. Okay? Keep those dear, or repeat them as a mantra. All right? And you will have a very healthy, boundaried experience. And close your office door. Okay? When it's time to work, close that door. Get what you need to get done. People can knock, and when they need you, and that sort. But it's so good to close it, get in your space so that you can really focus. Get in your focus box. And we can't end this out without talking about the surveys. So be survey cognizant. Surveys are a catch-22. And the best institutions and the best leadership team understand to take surveys, student surveys, with a grain of salt. Okay, because when you think about people who are really doing these surveys, sometimes they are very angry. And sometimes they misperceive things that they have no idea that's going on. And so the best leadership teams and the best institutions know to not weigh these too heavily, because students can use them to target you. All right? So you don't do something they want, and they're going to go after you with a survey. And so many nurse educators can fall into the trap of trying to be that educator where they what's the word? They want to make sure that their surveys are always good. So they may be extra friendly to the students, crossing lines and boundaries to achieve that. And so students will see, oh man, wow, they're going all the extra mile. And they're doing all of these things for me. But really, they're playing a dangerous game that could and will, down the line, backfire on them. Because I'm a firm believer that if you keep it professional, keep it boundary, they don't have to like it, but they will respect you for it. And they might not even understand it right now, but they will respect you for it. So when you have your survey, take it with a grain of salt. Now there are always some gems that you can take away from it, even from the most salty of individuals that have filled this survey out. I mean, they can be salty, and they can be petty, rigid petty on these surveys. So it's important to take a breath and understand that and the emotional component of the survey, and really self-reflect and see, are there things that could be adjusted because we're not perfect individuals. And one of the things that I would suggest is conduct your own evaluations before the big evaluations come. And you can do this by doing some of the free survey apps out there, and and have your students fill it out after class. Say, hey, um, y'all fill this out. I really want to know how you all respond to my message today, to the classroom experience. I want you to know how I want to know from you how I can be that much better. And when you invite the students to have open dialogue with you about, what do you need? What do you need? What would be beneficial? Okay, and they're always going to say crazy stuff like, "Tell me the test questions." Well, if even if you told them, they still probably wouldn't be able to pick it up on a test because they don't realize that that's not what they really need. They really need to know is how to break down the test question. And so that's how you really need to think. What is it? The students' thoughts are what is it? What's in it for me? So your lectures need to be tailored that way. They've got lives outside of this classroom. They need study techniques that don't have them studying for 20 hours, but maximize their study time. All right, so those are ways you can really help with this survey and really, discuss with the students. Come to me. All right, come to me and tell me when there are issues. All right, when you're misperceiving things, because it's not always the case. And so I think having that open conversation really, really helps. And having institutions and leadership teams that really understand that the survey is subjective and that people can be very malicious with the surveys, and that just because the educator has an excellent survey all the time does not mean that they're an excellent educator. And just because the educator has a poor survey doesn't mean that they are not doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom. So when so understanding your organization and your leadership is really beneficial to the support that you'll have moving forward. And you need to think about that too. Are you doing everything you need to do in that classroom? Are you being professional? Are you being boundaried? Are you being equitable amongst all students? Right? That is really, really helpful in the long run. And don't kill yourself if you get a bad survey. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, I got reamed with a survey before. Okay? And this was my thought. And the thought was when I was coming into nurse education, I knew that I did not want to have a basic lecture. I did not want to just do PowerPoints. So, man, I had this classroom experience where students were in groups, and there is evidence about students learning better in these type of environments. But the students on that survey, they said it was too busy, too much. And I was thinking, man, I thought this was really great. I put a lot of work and time into it, but they did not think the same way that I was thinking about it. And so that's why it's really important before you do all these things to really understand your students and what they need. Okay, and then you can get them to where they need to be. And a good educator knows when to have fun and let loose, when to be firm and stern and be constructive, okay? Because we are training the next professional. And I like to say that, you need to train these students like they are going to be working beside you in the unit or working beside your friends in the units. And we really need to think about that. So it's good to have these moments that you see right here where they get to see us have fun, chill. They need to see different versions of us that we're not stuffy. We have lives, okay? We weren't always holding this nurse educator book, okay? You don't know me, right? They need to see those moments so they know that we're people too. And we don't have all the answers all the time, but we're willing to work at it. They love that. They love to see those moments with us. So it helps them to understand that they don't have to be perfect, but they do need to understand how to find information and find what they need. And so that's so super, super important. One of the biggest things about nurse educators, I think, is that they are severely underpaid, especially in North Carolina. Nurse educators probably make 20 to 30% less than a standard nurse working in a hospital. And even nurse educators in the hospital system do not necessarily make the earnings that a standard nurse in a hospital will make. We really need to do better with these gaps. It's going to be hard to retain and keep qualified nurse educators with the pay gap being what it is. All right, so we really do need to help lobby and support good wages for nurse educators. As always, I just would like to thank y'all for stopping in, listening to what I have to say today. I want you to be encouraged, okay? And anytime you want to reach out with questions, my email is on this page. Please do so. I love supporting people in the field no matter where they are. We always have an opportunity to learn from one another and grow from our mistakes. All right. So don't be afraid to fail. Okay. If you go in that classroom and you clam up and you fail, you felt like you failed. That's just, another tool in your chest toolbox so that you know what you can do, how you can correct it better next time. All right. So let's give ourselves some grace. Let's forgive those that may have over scrutinized us on these surveys. Take it with let it roll off. Don't ever, do bad for bad. Okay. People may never know what you're trying to do for them. May never know, may never appreciate everything that goes into your role. But I want you to know that I appreciate you. I understand what you're trying to do. And you keep your head up and do what you do what's right for you. You do what's right for students. Do what's right for your organization. And you're going to be just fine. So thank you for your support. Hope to see you next time.